Hi, everybody. Welcome to English class.
Hello, welcome.
We're excited to see you, even though it's our second time this week seeing you. Zoom was not so great, but YouTube still works, so you will always get videos from us from now on.
So, okay, today we are going to be talking about a subject that many of you are familiar with. In fact, I think it is the verb conjugation that you know best, and that is present simple. So this will be a review for some of you, but it's always good to review.
Even we need to review how we teach it, and we're just going over it to refresh it in our brains and make sure you guys are super solid on it. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, but first, before we start, we're going to do to practice our introductions. So when we meet a new person, we always have questions that we ask to find out who this person is, right? So Ilana, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to wait a couple seconds to respond so that the students now can practice. So, so guys, when I ask the question, I will wait and I want you to say the answer out loud alone. If you want, you can send it on WhatsApp, but just so that you can practice speaking, okay? So first question, what is your name?
My name is Ilana.
And Ilana, where are you from?
I am from the United States of America.
Okay, and where do you live now?
Now I live in Haifa, Israel.
Okay, and what do you do?
I teach at a school. I am a teacher. That is my job.
Okay, and what languages do you speak?
I speak English and Hebrew.
Okay, and let's pretend you don't know English. Why do you want to learn English? Or I can ask you about Hebrew. Why do you want to learn Hebrew, Ilana?
I want to learn Hebrew. Oh, I started too fast. I want to learn Hebrew so that I can connect with people who live in Israel and I can understand them.
Perfect answer. Okay, so you all can practice these questions, and I want to keep repeating this because it is the first thing you will say to someone who speaks English, and we want to be really confident when we ask these questions or when we answer these questions, okay? So you can practice both asking the questions and answering them. Okay, this is about the homework from last week. So these sentences were about the reading, Milana, sorry.
No, these sentences were about the tomatoes.
Ah, okay, yeah. So 2 weeks ago, we read a poem by Pablo Neruda about a tomato. And we asked you to write 3 sentences about tomatoes, okay? So I will read you my sentences and you can read yours out loud also. Or if you haven't done it, you can write your own now. Okay, so number 1, the tomato is beautiful and red. Number 2, the tomato has lots of juice. And number 3, You can cook many things with tomatoes. Okay, and so I wrote these in my notebook. It's backwards, I guess, right? But
It's clear.
you can do this. Okay. So you can do the same in your notebook, and you can send us a picture, or you can record yourself saying the sentences out loud, and we would love to hear what you think about tomatoes. Okay, so now to the meat of the lesson, present simple review. Okay, so first I want to remind you all when we use present simple. Okay, so we use it when something is, when we're talking about something that is always true, right? So we have some examples here. A says, the sun rises in the morning, the sun sets in the evening. So we use rises and sets because this is something that happens every day. It's always true and it always will be. So we use the present simple here. The next one, the supermarket sells food. So we use the present simple here because it's a fact, okay? The supermarket is where you buy food. They sell it, and we use the present simple here. Another example is where you come from. This will always be true, right? So I come from the United States. You come from Sudan or Eritrea. And this will always be true. So we say I am from, or I come from, okay? Next, it's a situation that's not always true, but for now it's the fact, okay? So when someone asks you, where do you live? Even if it's only, I don't know, for some years in one place, you use the present simple, okay? So I live in Haifa. And next, we use it when we're talking about things that we do many times, okay? Things that we do over and over again. This is called a habit, something that repeats itself. So the first example is, on Mondays, I teach English. So every Monday, because it happens once a week, every Monday, we use the present simple. Because on Mondays, it's always true that I teach English, okay? And then the next sentence is, every morning, Elena reads a book. Okay, so because it's every morning, we use the present simple here. So if you want to practice, you can read these sentences and practice the pronunciation, and also for the conjugation of present simple, okay? So now let's talk about how we conjugate the verbs, okay? So the verb for I, you, we, and they, we don't change it, okay? It stays exactly the same as it would in the root form, I guess you could call it. So to read in the present simple becomes, I read a book before bed, okay? And for you, it's the same. You write a letter to grandma every month. For we, Joseph and I, we don't change the verb, okay? We say, Joseph and I dance on Tuesday nights. The verb here is underlined, so you can see each verb in every sentence. Then, for the pronoun they, May and David, eat dinner together. So all of these for I, you, we, and they, in the present simple, it doesn't change, okay? I read, you read, we read, they read, okay? But for one case, he, I can't count, he, she, and it, we change the verb by adding an S at the end, okay? So Elena, she, notice we're talking about she here. She reads a book before bed. Okay, here I really want you to practice saying the S at the end. Okay, so you can read this sentence out loud to yourself and make sure you say, she reads a book before bed. Okay, you can practice. And next, K, this is for he. K writes a letter to grandma every month. Okay, and our dog, it's an animal, so we use it, but it's the same conjugation with the S. Our dog eats dinner. Okay, our dog eats dinner on Tuesdays and every other day of the week. Okay, so these are some examples, but we have some times where it does not follow the same pattern, okay? So these are the irregular ones. I think actually for most of you haven't seen this one yet. We didn't go over it in class. So this could be new material. So, okay, on this side, we have places where the present simple is not regular, okay? Where it's not like we saw it here with the S at the end. So here we have ch, like if the word ends in ch, sh, o, with two S's or with an X, then we add ES to the end, not just S like before, okay? So let me give you some examples here. So, and this is only for the he, she, it form. When it's in I, you, we, or they, we use it the same way. So we don't change the verb, okay? So Sarah teaches, see how we have ES here, young students. Now Ben washes with ES the dishes, and that's because wash ends in SH, okay? And teach ends in CH. Now we have May goes to school every day, okay? So we have the verb go, and because it's one of the irregular verbs, we add ES, but we still say goes, okay? May goes to school every day. Next, we have a verb that ends with two S's, okay? So we say, my mom misses me when I am away. And finally, we have a word that ends in X, okay? Fix. But in the he, she, it form, it changes to Ariella fixes, with ES, my toolbox, okay? So you can practice saying these words out loud and think and see if you can think of other verbs like this that will be irregular, okay? See if you know any in your head. Here's a last example. When it ends with Y, like cry, fly, study, or try, you should add IES in the he, she, it form, okay? So David tries new foods. David tries new foods. Okay, and then next, this is another exception. So this page can be confusing because there's lots of changes to the verb, and it's not the simple case that we're used to, but I'm just telling you now so that you know. You don't have to memorize this or anything, just so that you can begin to see it, okay? So if a vowel, A, I, O, or U, comes before the Y, just add an S to the end, not like this form, not IES, okay? So because an A here with play comes before the Y, then we say K plays football. And same here. we have the verb enjoy. And because there's an O before the Y, we say he enjoys the game. Okay? Ilana, do you want to explain this one?
Okay. So remember that when we say to be, we are talking in the present. We have 3 ways of saying it. You can, and I like to remember it as a party. So I am, it's a balloon because there's only one subject, one of these words, he, she, it, whatever, that goes with am. I and am always together. I am happy. I am a teacher. I am working right now. Something like that. I am always together. But is like a pizza which has 3 corners. 3 corners, I think that's right. There are only 3 subjects that go with it. He, she, and it. He is a soccer player. She is nice. It is a dog. These words always go with is. They cannot go with am, they cannot go with are. These words always stay together. And last, like a present, which looks like a box, these 4 words, you, we, and they, go with are. So you, when we're talking to one person, you are you okay? To one person. Or when we're talking to many people, are you all students? What are you all doing? You are. When we say we, or you and I, or someone and I, we are. We are happy together. Yelena and I, we are teachers. And last, they, when we're talking about people over there, they are. The children are hungry. The children are playing. Something like that. These words always go together. Remember, they always go together. So, okay. So now we're going to use do and does to help us ask questions. Because when we ask a question, we can't say, you like to eat soup? That won't make sense. We need do if we are talking to I, you, we, or they, or does if we're talking to he, she, or it, to help us ask a question. The question goes first in the first box with the do, the second box with the subject, with the person we're talking about, and the third box with the verb or the action. So if you want, stop the video and you can practice reading the sentences. Stop. But now I will read. So with do you like to eat soup? Yes, I like to eat soup. Do you all play football on Saturdays? Oh, yes, we play football on, it's supposed to be Saturdays, not Sundays. But they play football. Do you all play football? Yes, we play football. Do the students read books? They? Yes, they read many books. So you see, do always goes with I, you, we, or they. Does, like what we talked about earlier with ending certain verbs in S, goes with he, she, or it. Does she drink coffee? Yes, she drinks coffee. Does he speak English? Yes, he speaks English. Does the sun rise in the morning? Yes, the sun rises in the morning. This helps us ask questions better. So, and there are 2 ways to answer a question. We have to answer with a yes or a no. So now we're starting with the yes, like we did a second ago. So again, when I'm done reading, you can stop the video and read the sentences to work on your pronunciation and just hearing the words. So again, if you are using I, you, we, or they, talking about these people, use do. You're going to use do at the start of your sentence. Do you like to swim in the sea? Yes, I do. I like to swim in the sea. You can end your answer at yes, I do, or you can say yes, I do. I like to swim in the sea. But I and do go together. Do you all study English on Mondays? Yes, we do. We study English on Mondays. Do they plant flowers in their garden? Yes, they do. They plant flowers in their garden. Now remember, if we are talking about he, she, or it, we use does. Does he play football? Yes, he does. He plays football. Does she work at the hospital? Yes, she does. She works at the hospital. Does the cat drink milk? Yes, it does. The cat drinks milk. Again, you can say yes, it does, or yes, we do. Make a very short sentence, or you can say the full sentence. But all of these words, he, she, it, and does go together. I, you, we, they go with do. That's how the words match up. Sometimes we can't always answer yes, so we have to answer no. So if you are saying no to a question, if you are talking about I, you, we, or they, use don't. Do you like to swim in the sea? No, I don't. I like to swim in the pool. Do you all study English on Mondays? No, we don't. We study English on Thursdays. Do they plant flowers in their garden? No, they don't. They plant flowers at their school. So remember, I, you, we, and they go with don't. But what about he, she, or it? We say doesn't. If we want to answer no, we say doesn't. Does he play football? No, he doesn't. He plays basketball. Does she work at the hospital? No, she doesn't. She works at the mall. Does the cat drink milk? No, it doesn't. The cat drinks water. So remember these rules to help you ask and answer questions. Okay. So when we talk about present simple, as we said at the beginning, we use it to talk about things that happen over and over again, things that repeat, like habits. But sometimes we need to be a little specific about what we do. I could say I read, but that won't tell you a lot. I could say I always read. I always read in the morning, which means I do it all the time. I usually read in the mornings, which means I do it most of the time. I often read in the mornings. Again, most of the time, but a little less. I sometimes read in the mornings. Not a lot. I rarely read in the mornings, which means you don't do it at all, really. I never read in the mornings. You don't do it one bit. So we use these words to help tell us how often we do something, how often it repeats. We can also use...
You can also, sorry, you can say how many times. So when you're talking about how many times you do something, if you don't know the word often, you always use these words. Just wanted to...
Thank you, I forgot about that. You could say how many times you eat cereal for breakfast every week. I eat cereal 3 times a week. Or how many times do you visit grandma in the month? I visit grandma 2 times in the month. You can say it like that. We also remember, and sometimes we'll use words like the day, the week, month, year, or even hour to get more specific, to tell us how often or how many times we do something, how it repeats. So now we have a lot of sentences to help you practice and remember. So on the left, we use how often to ask about the number of times you do something. And on the right side, we're using the time words that we just talked about. So after I read, pause the video and practice reading. Okay, let's go. 1. How often do you study English? I study English every day. Good for you if you do. How often do you go to the beach? I go to the beach every week. How often do you visit your grandparents? I visit them every month. How often do you travel to Israel? I travel to Israel every year. So you see, I started off doing something quite a lot. English is every day, that's very frequent, that's many times. Every week is a lot too. Every month, not so much. And every year, that's not a lot at all. Okay. That's the same rule for the sentences on this side. Always is something that you do the most. It happens the biggest number of times, and never 0 times. Never happens. So 1. The students always do their homework. I like that sentence. We usually eat dinner together during the week. You often talk to your grandma on the phone. He sometimes buys ice cream as a treat. She rarely leaves her house. I never do sports. That's true. That's good present simple for me. All right. So we reviewed present simple. If you have any questions or want to go over it again, you can always watch the video. It's very good. Stop it, read, think, but also ask me and ask Yelena, hey, I don't understand this. Can you help me? And we'll say, of course we can help you. So that's rule number 1. For homework, if you haven't done Yelena's translation exercise, do it. It's really fun. We will send it to you. 2, there are 2 worksheets for present simple. They're really great and really fun. We will send them to you. Write the answers in complete sentences and full sentences in your notebook. That's it. Have some lemons for your day.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And we hope to see you again next week. And I just want to remind you that if you ever want to speak English or practice speaking, or if you have questions about English, or you want to know music in English or movies in English, just ask us, okay? We would be really happy to talk to you, and yeah, we always love getting calls from you or WhatsApp messages or anything. So please talk to us.
Alrighty, everyone, talk to us, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Good night.
Good night.